In the past 12 months, our cold email process has booked over 10,000 sales calls and generated over $5 million in revenue just through cold email. And after hearing that, you might think, okay, you guys are probably really good at writing scripts, scraping leads, warming up domains, doing follow-up, but let me tell you, it's none of those things that makes it work. The reason why our cold email process works extremely well is the testing process. If you don't know exactly how to test your cold email campaigns, it's gonna be impossible for you to make it work in a predictable way, and you're gonna be leaving a lot of money on the table. And the most painful thing I see when someone comes up to me and they show me, hey, I've been testing this cold email campaign a lot, I've sent over 10,000 emails, I've done 20 different tests, and then I look at the test results and they have completely messed it up, making all of the data and all of the tests they have done completely inaccurate and irrelevant. They can't be used. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to approach testing your cold email campaigns and how to systematically make campaigns work so you're able to fill your calendar with a lot of leads, a lot of meetings for your agency. But when you're creating a cold email campaign, let's say you have your email here. This represents your cold email. On your email, you obviously have a bunch of different elements. You have your subject line, you have your first line, you have your offer, you have your case studies right here, and then you have your call to action. So obviously there's a lot of elements just in the script alone. And then outside the script, there's a bunch of other elements like who you're targeting, how you're running your follow-ups, what market awareness and sophistication level your messaging is tailored to. And the chances of you starting out a brand new cold email campaign and getting all of these elements right, getting the perfect subject line, getting the perfect first line, perfect offer and call to action and targeting and follow-ups and all of these things, it is extremely slim. Obviously, the more campaigns you run, the better you get at running campaigns your niche, and you already start gathering a database of knowledge inside your head. You start knowing, okay, every single time when I do this, the campaign works really well, this always gets really good results, this doesn't work, I already tried that out, etc. So that's why it's really beneficial to stay in one niche and work with clients that are always similar types. You're always able to use the same principles. So the first few campaigns, when you're really scaling your agency, let's say you're scaling your lead gen agency to $10,000, $20,000 a month, almost all of those campaigns, you're not gonna have 100% always gonna be working predictable blueprint for your campaigns. And that is the reason why we need to test it. A lot of people, they launch a cold email campaign and then it doesn't work. They get like 2 calls out of 3,000 leads and are like, damn, this niche is saturated, or this offer doesn't work, or this and that is the problem. But really, if they just did a few tests in the correct way, they would be able to take that campaign and turn it completely around, make it an absolute money printer. So when testing on cold email, what we really want to do is we want to look at all of these different variables. We want to look at the copy, we want to look at the targeting, we want to look at the follow-ups, we want to look at the strategy, we want to look at the CTA, and we want to test all of these things one by one. What is the best working combination that produce us the best results? For this to work, we need to understand that one really simple concept, because a huge mistake I see a lot of people make. They test stuff in the wrong order, which pretty much causes a crazy amount of lost time and money and resources, and just make it extremely hard to succeed with anything. Here we have a really simple triangle, and on this triangle there's going to be 3 different stages. So there's going to be stage 1, stage 2, and there's going to be stage 3. And the higher we go on this triangle, the smaller the effect is going to be on the campaigns. So when we touch things, or on the level 1 of the triangle, we're able to take the campaign and we're able to increase the performance of the campaign by 100 to 1,000%. You're actually like really able to blow campaigns out of the water. You might have a campaign that is booking you 1 call a month, and then you test a few things on level 1 and boom, suddenly the campaign is booking you 10, 15, 20 calls a month. So you're really able to do heavy hitting damage here. And on level 2, the impact is going to be a bit smaller. You're going to be able to impact the results of the campaign by 30 to 80% or something along these lines. Like, yeah, if you already have a great working campaign and you're booking like 10 calls a month and you're able to increase the performance of your campaign by 40%, yeah, that's obviously amazing. It's a lot of money for you if you run a lead gen agency or just a lot of great sales calls, but it's not the most heavy hitting ones. And of course, level 3, this is really like micro optimization stuff. Here we are able to impact the results of the campaign by like 10 to 20%. So really small improvements. And the biggest problem that I see a lot of people make when they start testing cold email campaigns, they start testing things that are here. They start from here, which obviously is extremely inefficient because you're just looking for a 10 to 20% increase in your campaign performance when you could spend that exact same time and energy and resources testing on the level 1, and you could be increase the campaign results by hundreds of percents at a time. So obviously the most important thing here is, okay, what goes into level 1, what goes into level 2, and what goes into level 3. And of course, these things are a bit subjective. We have been consulting like thousands of cold email campaigns for the past few years. So I would say that I have a pretty good pulse on this. In my opinion, on the level 1, the biggest impact things on level 1 are going to be first the niche. So what niche the campaign is targeting. Then it's going to be the offer. What are you actually offering? An offer, of course, there's multiple layers to it, and there's the mechanism, and there's the end results, etc. And then there is market sophistication and awareness, aka how matured and how aware the market is. And these are the things that are going to give you biggest bang for your buck when testing things on cold email. Then on level 2, we have things that are less impactful. So for example, the strategy that you're using for a campaign, the specific titles. So are you reaching the CEOs or CMOs, or who are you reaching out to? The geo, so what specific geography you are targeting. Then like lead sources is for sure here. And then here's also personalization. And then on level 3, here we find things like subject line, the CTA, the PS line, things that are really small difference makers. What I see a lot of people do is they start their campaigns, they don't get the results that they are looking for. And then instead of starting to focus on the big things that really affect the performance of the campaign, they go here and they start testing like a different subject line, thinking that it's going to change anything. Like really, you're not going to have a big impact here. And this is just super important for you to understand, because obviously if you want to get the highest performing campaign in the most efficient way, you first want to test everything here on level 1 and really make sure that you are targeting the most optimal niche, and you know how to talk to them, you have an offer that resonates really well with their pain points and their current situations and their desires, and that you also know how sophisticated the market is and how aware they are of your solution and of their problems, also tweaking your copy based on that. Then when you have figured that out, like at this point the campaign already is printing. It should already be booking like 8 to 12 calls every single month when you get to this point. Unless you're selling like something super high ticket, like $1 million deals. Then when you have done that, then you can start tweaking around your strategies or the approach to the campaign. Are you doing free audits? Are you just trying to get a reply? Are you trying to get them to opt into something? Do you want them to watch a video? Whatever it is. What specific titles you're targeting in your niche? What is the geo? What is the headcount? What is the lead source? What is the personalization? Run the leads, and then you can start A/B testing these things. And then when you have these things figured out, you can go here. But like in 80-90% of the cases, like it's really gonna take you at least 6 months to get here, unless you're like super crazy volume on your cold email campaigns, because it obviously takes time to test these things. So then, of course, the next question is gonna be, okay, how do we actually approach tests? So first thing is gonna be, okay, we wanna pick something from the level 1. So you might already have a really well validated niche, and you know that your niche wants your service. In that case, you just go in their offer. Or you might have a thesis that, okay, these kinds of companies would probably benefit from this kind of an offer, but you're not 100% sure what specific niche is the most profitable one for you to target. So what you go ahead and you do, you create 3 different cold email variations, and you pretty much just create one campaign and 3 variations inside it. If you use Instantly or SmartLead or any email sender, it's like super easy to do inside there. But you should pretty much create 3 different email variations like this. I really do not recommend testing more than 3 things at once, because if you have 7 different variations that you're testing, it gets really slow to test it. Analyzing the data gets a bit more complex and it just becomes a bit more messy. So I would just have 3 different variations that you test at a time. Okay, boom. Now we have 3 different email variations. Each one of them has follow-ups. So now we want to test our niche. That's the first thing that we're going to do. First of all, we of course need to write the cold email. At this point, we want to make something fairly general. We don't want to make anything super targeted, because it's going to be going to different niches. So you write the cold email campaign. So you have your personalized line, you have your offer, and then you have your call to action. So the main thing you need to understand is that each one of these emails should look exactly the same. The only difference really you might have here is if you call out the specific niche. Let's say that your thesis is that, okay, the 3 most potential niches for me to target would be either IT companies, accounting companies, or marketing agencies. So then like the only difference you might have in your script is like if you call out the specific niche and you say, we have been helping IT companies, then of course you change those things. If you call out the industry or the type of the company or the niche, you change that in the scripts. But all of these scripts should look pretty much exactly the same. And the same goes for the follow-ups. All of these follow-ups should be the exact same follow-up. There should be no differences. And do you know the reason why that is so important? Because this is a huge mistake that I see a lot of people make. Because what happens a lot of times when people start their first cold email campaigns is they are like, okay, I'm going to test 3 different niches. I'm going to shoot this email to 3 different niches. And then they write a different script here and they write a different type of cold email here. This is longer. This has a soft CTA and this is just one question. And their follow-ups are also a bit different. And they have different call to actions, different email lengths, different subject lines, and all of these things. And then they run the campaign. And let's say that this campaign is clearly the winner. This campaign wins. and outperforms these both campaigns. But because all of your variables were different, it's impossible for you to say, did this campaign win because it was to IT, or did this campaign win because it had a soft call to action, or did this campaign win because it had a short email, or did it win because it had this follow-up? Like if you have multiple variables, it's going to be impossible for you to pinpoint what actually made the difference in the campaign. So that is why we always want to make sure that we only are testing one variable and changing one variable at a time. Otherwise, the test is going to be completely inaccurate and it's going to be useless and you just wasted a bunch of time and you don't really know what made it work or what make it not work. You have the exact same follow-ups, and the only difference between all of these three campaigns is that this one campaign is going to IT, one is going to accounting niche, and one is going to marketing agency. And then in order for you to get a valid test, you want to reach out to 500 leads each one of these campaigns. So 500 here, 500 here, 500 here, and you want to make sure that at least 2 follow-ups go through, because that's really the benchmark where we have seen that it gets rid of a lot of the random variables like being lucky. Because for example, let's say you reach out to 100 leads on every single campaign, and then on one campaign you just have like 3 people who are like already super excited. You just get like super lucky and they book calls, and on the other campaigns the 100 leads you use are like doesn't really resonate with them immediately. We're gonna look at one campaign and we're like, damn, I have a 3% booking rate, this is the best campaign, and we're gonna scale it up, but it might have just been luck. So you always want to be making sure that you send it to at least 500 leads and have 2 follow-ups go through to get an accurate test result. So then when you have done that, you have reached out to 500 leads with every single campaign, and then what you need to do is you need to look at the result. What you want to be measuring is really the positive replies or booked calls rate. Let's say that the IT campaign gets you 6 positive replies, accounting campaign gets you 9 positive replies, and the marketing agency campaign gets you 2 positive replies. This shows clearly the accounting companies have the best demand for my service. And obviously we could go into way deeper here, like what size accounting companies, etc. But that's, once again, that's on the level 2. Okay, now we have done this test. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be testing the offer. So then we're going to take this exact same campaign that we got the results with. Like we're not going to change anything, and we're going to duplicate, and we're going to create 3 new campaigns with the exact same script and the exact same follow-ups and exact same targeting settings that we used before. Once again, if you start changing stuff here, you'd never know what really makes the difference. And the only thing we're going to change here is the offer. We're going to be changing the end result, the guarantee, the mechanism, whatever you feel is the most relevant thing to change here. Sure. But we're going to be creating 3 different variations of your offer to see what resonates the most. Should it have a long time frame, a short time frame? Should it talk about revenue, more booked calls, leads? Should it mention cold email? Should it mention outbound marketing? And what resonates the best with the prospect? And that's the only thing you're going to change. Just that one thing is how you position your offer. And then what you do is you once again, you run it to 500 leads, let 2 follow-ups go through, and you see what were the results. Okay, boom, this got 6, this got 7, and this got 12. Amazing. Now we have made already great improvements. And you pretty much just go through each one of these steps in a correct order to make sure that you do everything as efficiently as possible. And let me tell you that really you shouldn't just test all of these things once, like on level 1, because it can get us so big boost in performance and so big gains. It is not a bad idea to test the offer multiple times or the niche multiple times or market sophistication or awareness level before moving here. And then you're going to start testing these things. You can only change one thing at a time. And then when your campaign, let's say it's booking 10 calls every single month. So it's working fairly well. What you do is you take that campaign, this becomes the control campaign. When it's the control campaign, you're going to be spending like 75 to 80% of your sending volume on this campaign. So if you're able to send 1,000 emails a day, you're going to be sending 750 emails just with this one campaign because it already works really well. You just can keep ripping that. And then for the rest of 25% of your sending volume, you're going to be creating different campaigns and you're trying to always beat this campaign and get better performance out of it. Then if you create a campaign that performs better than this one, so let's say that you create a new campaign, boom, and you have a different script here. Let's say you just have like one line and a question, boom, and this like outperforms the control campaign. What you do is you get rid of the old control and you replace it with the new control. So you're always spending 75% of your sending capability on your best performing campaign, aka the control campaign, and then over time you're trying to beat the control with the rest of your sending volume. And every single time when you find something that works better, then you replace the old control with the new winner. And that's pretty much what you just keep repeating forever, and that's how you make a lot of money. Obviously, if you want to learn cold email a bit more in depth, you can go to leadgenkit.io, like I mentioned. It's like a free course on cold email. We used to sell it for a few $100. Go check that out. It has a bunch of really good info on cold email. And also, if you're really interested in how you can make a full-time income with cold email and providing cold email as a service and doing this for other companies, you can also check out agencyvelocity.io, because that's pretty much our consulting company where we help people build and scale B2B lead gen agencies and scale them to 6 figures a year. So go check that out as well. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and I'll see you on the next